how can you show that you have credibility? How do you build credibility? How do you take this word that is so important and bring it into your practice, into your life?
Well, I think it's really fascinating. If you've read the white paper that Maddox Douglas did, there was some interesting commentary in there about credibility. And
Mhm.
it's not about credentials or licenses. I mean, goodness gracious, speaking as someone who has a lot of, letters after their name, no, clients don't really care about that. I do that more for my own education than I do to show them anything. I think what clients really care about when they're looking for somebody that's credible is somebody that they can, that listens to them, that pays attention to what they're saying, that doesn't try to interrupt them or talk over them. Somebody who, if they don't know the answer, they're willing to be forthcoming about that and say, I don't know the answer, I'll find out. I think clients appreciate that as much as they appreciate someone who seems to have all the answers. And so, because that's where trust really comes in. So credibility, I think, is like trust. It can be built over time. One thing that I find to be fascinating, though, is if you look at millennials and Generation Z, they would trust somebody online, like an online influencer, more than they would trust a financial advisor or professional. If you ask them, they would rather, listen to somebody on YouTube than listen to somebody like any of us on this webinar, because they feel like that somehow or another, because those people aren't, in our industry, that they have more unbiased advice than perhaps we do. I think being able to share our own personal stories also really helps with building credibility, kind of like the been there, done that scenario, as long as the been there, done that is a positive thing. I think,
Mhm.
I'm not looking to take advice from somebody who, got themselves out of trouble. The very fact they got into trouble in the beginning makes me kind of, maybe a little bit leery about whether or not they'd be the right person to take advice from. But I think that credibility really comes about from listening, certainly being educated. I am not discouraging that. I think it's important. Asking good questions and really listening and being straightforward with clients and talking to the line and making sure that you are not sugarcoating what you need to tell them, but also having empathy when you need to tell them. Julie, what about you? What do you think about credibility?
Well, Ande, I'm going to throw it right back to you because you didn't talk about your book.
I
Because
was
I
just
think,
going to say that.
I think that, I mean, whether you have a book in your brain or not, and I have to just shout out my ghostwriters on this call, Beth Herman. She's right below me on my screen, but it's also her birthday today. Happy
Oh,
birthday, Beth.
happy birthday.
But you might have some sort of message to send. And Ande, I think your book is just like fabulous for giving you like uber amounts of credibility. So before I take the question back, I want to throw it back to you real quick.
Well, I have to tell you, I think anytime you can write and people can look up and see that you're writing with just this, I'm not making money off my writing other than the book sales, but when I write blogs or write articles, I'm doing that, just to give out information, and content does create credibility. I mean, if you look at it, that's how influencers have created credibility, is through delivering free content, freemium content, so to speak. Now there's different ways that they're monetizing that on the back end, but initially it looks like they're giving you something of value without you asking for something. I certainly think that the book helps, but the whole goal of me writing that book was to not just be for my benefit, but to also give advisors a tool they could use with their clients, because it's a book that causes people to think. It doesn't tell them what to do. That's your role. So I have a lot of advisors that will use my book as a giveaway to their clients with the whole goal of leveraging my credibility for their benefit, which is fine. And it gets a conversation going. And so I think that it's really fascinating to see how credibility can be built, but it has to, I think, be built in different ways and in different increments for sure.
Yeah, I completely agree, Ande. I think, my book has nothing to do with financial services other than being in the financial services career, but it's my passion. And so your passion can also help speak to the credibility that you hope to get back from the people you encounter. And I know Ande's book is fabulous, and as is Judy's book, and I give them both out to clients. I think that you have to think about the different scenarios where they might fit, and let's lift each other up by utilizing each other's intellectual property. So for me, credibility it has just come with time. It has come with consistency. It has come with referrals that I never would have expected someone to refer me because I didn't really have a great encounter with them. And at least that was my perception. And sometimes I think, oh my gosh, they actually did like me. And not so they liked me so much that they now referred me to other people they know. And so that builds my confidence and therefore allows me to continue to do what I do every day. Because sometimes it feels like a thankless job, but use those moments to help
Mhm.
increase your credibility. And then don't be afraid to get out there and spread the word and utilize that confidence to grow who you are as an advisor. So Judy, anything you want to add on credibility?
I would just say that, the same thing. My books were not because of the industry. It was because of what happened after the industry for me. And, when I find that I do write articles for different publications, and sometimes it makes me laugh. Like I'll write for an annuities publication and I'll tell them I don't do annuities. And they say, we want anything but annuities. We want it about women. So it's always funny to me that you do get the credibility from different spaces and different places, but it's one piece at a time. It's just one piece at a time. If you're new to the industry, you'll get the credibility. You just have to, do the right thing, do the right thing, do the right thing. And people start to talk about you and people start to share you. And that's part of credibility as well.